Right, okay. Joseph K. Pilsudski asks, if you were living in Russia during this Russian Civil War, who would you have fought for and why? This is a tricky question, which I'm being a little bit cautious about answering because it's kind of it's very politically charged. But if I was there at the time, living in Russia, and I didn't have the benefit of hindsight. You know, I couldn't look back from the position we are in today and see how things actually turned out for real. I would probably have joined the Reds for the simple reason that at the time I would have kind of probably associated more with the Reds than the Whites because I probably would have hated everything the Whites stood for in Russia. I mean, the White is difficult saying that because the Whites were made up of a whole bunch of different groups, but I would have hated the Tsar. I really would have hated the Tsar. I'm not much fond of Britain's monarchy nowadays, you know, and they're pretty much powerless and useless, you know, let alone a supreme autocrat like the Tsar of Russia. I think good riddance to him as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, yeah, I probably would have joined the Reds, really, actually, now I think about it. I would have been able to associate with their cause a lot better than I would have been able to with the Whites at the end of the day, and inevitably I probably would have come to regret it because I'm far too liberal to have survived the ensuing purges after the Civil War was finished, I'm afraid. I would have been sent to a gulag and summarily executed, I think. So there you go. That's my answer. I probably would have joined the Reds and then immediately regretted it later, so... Anyway... I got another question about will I do a Skyrim LP with Idris in Skyrim, and yeah, I've already answered that. Ebenezer Crinklebottom, you have a magnificent name, by the way. He asks, boxers or briefs? And the answer to that is boxers, I think. They're more comfortable. And if you could mantle... Huh? Have I misread that? No, if you could mantle any of the main protagonists in the TES series, who would it be? I kind of don't know what you mean by mantle. Really, if I'm honest. It sounds dirty, it sounds rude. It sounds vaguely sexual. But I have no idea what the F is mantling. Maybe I don't want to know what mantling is, actually, now I think about it. So anyway, moving on. Malevolent Entity asks, how is college going? College is going alright. I'm actually on a break from college. I have been for a couple of months now. I've taken an intermission so I can go back in September after having switched over to game design from illustration, because I was kind of not enjoying illustration in the slightest. And the course leader was a bit of a useless bastard when it came to trying to switch over, and so eventually I had to miss out on a term or two so I could restart again in September. So, you know, college is all going alright, but the thing is I'm not actually really sort of at university at the minute, technically speaking. I'm back in Northamptonshire at the minute, so... And if Bethesda made the next Elder Scrolls game in Vardenfell, would you be excited or disappointed? I think I'd be majorly disappointed, actually. I've had quite enough of the revisiting old locations with Dragonborn, I think. Dragonborn is good. I haven't played much of it so far, but Dragonborn is good from what I've seen. But it's good, but as far as I'm concerned, we draw the line here. This far and no further. We're not going back anymore, okay? I really, really don't want to start going back to old provinces just to like appeal to Morrowind fans or something like that. No, I really don't want to go back to Vardenfell. Besides, there's nothing bloody in Vardenfell. The whole place is a wasteland. It's been completely torched by Red Mountain erupting, so there's nothing there. There'd be no point in going back there, really. So yeah, I'd be pretty disappointed. I would much rather see a new province we've not seen before. You know, so yeah. Okay, This Be Mars. Hi, by the way. Asks, would you... most people aren't going to get this, but... Would you rather fight one tourist-sized Pro Vanilla Graphics text wall or 100 text wall-sized tourists? And the answer is 100 text wall-sized tourists, because, I don't know, I reckon maybe if I could somehow trick them into arguing with one another about something really silly, and then I could maybe like run off and try and find like, I don't know, a fire extinguisher or something, and you know, or some napalm, and then maybe funnel them through a doorway somehow. I think I could probably deal with that, but a tourist-sized text wall would probably give me a headache, and I would just lose the will to live. So anyway, yep, no, I'm not surprised if people watching this have no idea what the hell I was just talking about, and that's fine. Okay, Stinky Barnaby, I've read that right, yep, asks, if you could go back in time to any period in history to live for the rest of your days, when and where would you go and why? Huh. Last Tuesday. No, not really, but oh, I don't know, actually. I kind of like the 21st century, if I'm perfectly honest with you. In no other century could I sit at home making videos and actually get paid to do it, really. So, if I was forced to choose, though, maybe... It's difficult to say, because, like, you've got... the further back you go, the more you have to deal with disease and crap like that, so... Blasting damn it. Maybe I'd go back somewhere quite far, or to somewhere that I have a really good knowledge of history of, and then use my knowledge of history from the future to make myself become really, really powerful and rich and stuff like that. Maybe I'd do that, yeah. Maybe go back to, like, Roman times, maybe, or something like that. Like, ancient Rome, like, it was a pretty bizarre place, but at the end of the day, it was far more civilized than anything between then and, like, around kind of the 1700s, I think, really, at the end of the day. I wouldn't mind being a rich person living in the 1700s, you know, the 18th century. That'd be kind of cool, I suppose, actually, with the old tricorn hats and all that kind of stuff. I suppose. Oh, good God, no, she's coming this way. Please don't sit there and start bothering me. No, she's just going to go stare at the armor. Okay, fair enough. Adopting that kid was the worst decision this character ever made. Oh, dear. I had no idea how annoying it would be, but never mind. So yeah, anyway, yeah, probably like ancient Rome, and then I would use my knowledge of ancient Rome to make myself really rich and powerful. By manipulating the threads of history, you know. I'd like go back to like when like Hannibal was invading across the Alps, and I would tell the Romans that Hannibal was invading across the Alps or something, and don't know how I'd get them to believe me, but yeah, and then they'd like march off and destroy Hannibal on his way down from the Alps, and then they'd like congratulate me and give me lots of money and a big villa to live in. I think that's what I'd do. Or that I'd be burnt alive for being a madman. I don't know. It's difficult to say. Okay, so what do you think of oh, this is from Olo X3. I think it's Olo, is it? Yeah. What do you think of Daggerfall? Is it a game you could go back to and do a Let's Play? Oh boy. I kind of like Daggerfall, and then at the same time I kind of hate it. You know, it's just... There are lots of things I really like about Daggerfall, and there are lots of things I really, really hate about Daggerfall, with a burning passion, you know. It's probably the most bipolar of all the Elder Scrolls games I am about. As for whether I'd do a Let's Play of it, you know what, maybe at some point. There have been a number of times in the past where I have decided, yeah, I'm going to do a Daggerfall Let's Play, and then I've loaded up the game, and I've been sat there with Bandicam ready to record, and I've just pretty much chickened out, because... Well, you know, I just feel like if I was going to start, like, Let's Playing Daggerfall, I would have no idea what I was getting into. Because that game... Oh, that game. Like... Just ask John Zoidberg, because he did a... He's in my sub box as well, by the way. But he did a Daggerfall Let's Play, or I think he's still ongoing with it, even to this day. On and off. But, yeah, he's done a Daggerfall Let's Play, and I think you just need to ask him how... utterly horrendously frustrating that game is, especially to Let's Play. So yeah, maybe one day there will be a Daggerfall Let's Play, but if there is one, never expect me to finish the game or even play the Let's Play to the end. If I ever do a Let's Play of Daggerfall, it will last as long as I can before rage quitting, as I often do with Daggerfall. So yeah, there you go. Ooh, dear me. Right, okay, so Theodore Savage asks, hey, I'm really new on your channel, so this may have been asked before, but what inspired you to make videos, and do you have any tips? Okay, right, it's sort of been asked before in older Q&As, but not in this one so far, especially. So, what inspired me to make videos? Well, honestly, I'd seen plenty of Let's Plays before, and I liked the idea of doing a Let's Play, but I never had a computer expensive enough or powerful enough to allow me to actually record games. So I pretty much never did it for a long time, and then eventually I came into some money, quite unexpectedly, and I was able to buy myself a proper computer for gaming. And as a result of that, I was able to start recording my games, should I wish to. And after having encountered, it was especially after encountering Variax, and as a lot of people do, I imagine, encountering Variax and his interactive Morrowind Let's Play, that was the point where I said, you know what, I love Morrowind too. I could easily do a Let's Play of Elder Scrolls games like Morrowind quite comfortably, and I think I would enjoy it. And then there you go. I didn't start with Morrowind, probably a wise decision in hindsight, actually, but I did start with Morroblivion, because I was playing that and enjoying it quite a bit at the time, and yeah, everything just kind of went from there. There was no real grand inspiration, it was just a thing I'd been watching Let's Plays for quite some time, and always kind of felt like it might be a fun idea to do one, but I never was able to until one day I was able to, and there you go. So, anyway, I mean, I remember making, I think a couple of years before this channel was made, I made one attempt at doing a Let's Play, and it was a Rome Total War Let's Play, and unfortunately my computer was just so terrible. The resulting recording of the footage I did for the first episode of that Let's Play that was going to be, was actually really terrible. The game was running at about 5 frames per second, and my audio quality was horrendous because I was using an Xbox 360, you know, an Xbox Live microphone to record it, and it was laughably bad, and thank God I didn't upload it. That's all I could say, really. So yeah, there you go. Do I have any tips? Oh, a whole bunch. Main tip is go watch Please Select Your Podcast. That's my main tip. That's my go-to thing. A bit lazy of me, but there it is. They can explain things much better than I ever could. Most of what I know about Let's Playing comes from other Let's Players, you know. Pearls of wisdom that have been passed down through different generations, if you like, of Let's Players, you know what I mean? So, there you go. Main tips, like I said in the last video, make sure you upload regularly. Also, don't spam other people's videos with links to your videos in order to try and generate more views. In fact, disregard views and subscribers entirely when you start out. Just focus on enjoying the videos you are making, and, you know, if you build it, they will come. Quite simply. If you're enjoying the videos you're making, then someone else is going to enjoy it too. It's that simple, really. So yeah, there's too many tips to mention, really, at the end of the day. Oh, and be prepared to spend a bit of money. Be prepared to spend a bit of money, because you are going to need a proper microphone. Like I said, an old Xbox Live microphone or something like that, it just isn't going to cut it. You're going to need to get at least a reasonable headset mic. At least. I mean, if you've got plenty of money to spend and you're looking to get into Let's Playing, I would recommend getting a podcast mic like the Blue Snowball, which is the one I use. Why? Why spend so much money on a microphone? Because people really switch off when they're watching a video if the microphone quality of, and the general sound quality of the entire video is crap. It's a simple fact. You can look it up for yourselves if you have analytics like I do. You know, the reviewer retention on the videos I have before I got a new microphone is much worse than after I got the new microphone, because, you know, people prefer to watch a video if what they're listening to doesn't sound like trash, you know. So I would say that. Also, if you really want to get the best optimum performance, like if you want to be uploading in 1080p like I do, you're going to want to get an external hard drive with USB 3.0 support, like I have. I have a 2TB one, which is devoted entirely to just recording Let's Plays. There are no games or anything on it other than Let's Play stuff. And you want to get something like Fraps or DxTory or Bandicam. Bandicam is good for games which are really old and run on stuff like DOSBox. that because Fraps will not record DOSBox properly very well on most computers. So you want to get something like Bandicam, and Bandicam and Fraps, of course, they also cost money. So yeah, basically be prepared to spend a bit of money if you want to get into Let's Playing properly. It's not a particularly expensive hobby. It's not like, I mean, good God, you could be collecting Warhammer or something like that, and you could be spending hundreds of quid every year on Warhammer figures and paints and stuff like that. So in the grand scheme of things, Let's Playing is not a very expensive hobby at all. But do be prepared to spend some money on it if you want to get the best results anyway. So yeah, there's plenty of other stuff I could do besides. At some point I will do a big grand compendium of all my tips and hints I have for being a Let's Player. But right now that's the best I can give you off the top of my head. Okay, Casper D. Christ asks, which is your favourite Daedra/Aedra? My favourite... Ooh, interesting question. My favourite Daedra is Azura. I think Azura is great. That's probably the fact that I'm such a big Morrowind fan talking, and obviously, for those who don't know, Azura plays a huge role in the Morrowind main quest. An interesting role, a very backseat role, if you like, but she plays a very important role nonetheless. So yeah, Azura is my favourite Daedric prince / princess. It's kind of a bit... A lot of the Daedric princes are a bit androgynous, in Azura included, although she generally appears female, I think, but she has been referred to as a male in the past. So yeah, Azura, goddess of dawn and dusk, or twilight. Yeah, she's pretty great. I think she's pretty awesome. One of the first quests I did when I booted up Skyrim with my first Dark Elf character was, as soon as I heard that there was a big Azura statue with a shrine somewhere in the east of Skyrim, that was the first place I went with that character. That was like my immediate goal. As soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah, damn, I'm going straight there. You know? So that's my favourite Daedric prince. And my favourite Aedra, oh, I don't know really. Tiber Septim, maybe, I suppose. Oh no, maybe Akatosh. I don't know, it's difficult to say. Akatosh is kind of cool. He's a bit weird and unknowable, and mysterious. But Tiber Septim's kind of cool, and Tiber Septim, I think, in case anyone is really wondering, and I don't think there's much debate about this, but Tiber Septim is a divine, you know, ignore what the Thalmor are saying, you know. I think even the Thalmor at the highest levels probably realise that Tiber Septim is a divine, and they're really just pushing this Tiber Septim as not a divine line just to irritate the Imperials, really, and sow discord among the Empire, because, you know, why wouldn't they? It's been successful so far, right? It caused a whole Stormcloak uprising, didn't it? You know, which only benefited the Thalmor, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Thalmor were lying through their teeth just to, you know, increase their odds of winning the next war. So, you know, yeah, I think Tiber Septim is a divine. He's definitely a divine, and the reason we know he's a divine is because, well, two reasons. One, if he wasn't a divine, the ritual to get into Mankor Camoran's Paradise in Oblivion wouldn't have worked, because you need the blood of a divine, which you get from Talos' cuirass. So that wouldn't have worked if he wasn't a divine, and you would not have encountered his avatar during the Morrowind main quest. This is something maybe some people might have missed, but towards the very end of the Morrowind main quest, when you are in Ghostgate preparing to launch your assault on Red Mountain to defeat Dagoth Ur, there is an old man who appears in the bar in Ghostgate, and if you talk to him, he wishes you luck on your quest, and he gives you a lucky ring. I mean, sorry, not a ring, a lucky old coin. And that's the end of it. When you come back later on, he's gone, and if you ask the bartender about the guy, she says she hasn't seen anyone like that in there, which is a bit of a mystery. But if you happen to take that lucky old coin to, I think this, the Imperial cult leader in Ebonheart, she basically jumps back in amazement, and she basically explains to you that you may well have just spoken to the avatar of the divine Tiber Septim, Talos, whatever you want to call him. So, yeah. Only point in the Elder Scrolls series, I think, where you actually get to meet and speak to Talos. But yeah, there you go. He's definitely a divine. No real question about that. So yeah, he might well be my favourite. Possibly. It's a toss-up between him and Akatosh, really. So, there you go. Okay, moving on. What is your real name? My name is Toby. Actually, my full name is Tobias, but ever since I've been about like 10 years old, everyone's shortened it to Toby, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So there you go. The mystery is broken, people. That's my name. It was going to come out sooner or later, so why the hell not get it over with? So there you go. Mr. Monty 97 asks, do you like cheddar? The answer is hell yes. A good cheddar is a fine thing indeed. When it comes to cheeses, I actually generally tend to prefer a lot of the squishy, soft French cheeses. But I tell you what, you go to France, you have a devil of a time trying to find a good cheddar. You really do. I love cheddar. Cheese and mustard sandwiches are like kind of this thing which I've always eaten as kind of my staple thing to treat myself with if I'm feeling really hungry and I've got bread and cheese in. Bread and mustard sandwiches, and the mustard has to be like French's hot dog style bright yellow mustard as well. I'm not talking about Coleman's English mustard or anything like that. It's got to be that American style hot dog mustard. Yeah, fucking glorious, especially if you get a bit of margarine or butter in there as well. So yeah, I like cheddar a lot. Okay, now Jug Practice, I think, asks, will you ever consider trying to replay Mario Oblivion? The answer I've already given, and that is no. Samantha Sparks asks, what is your least favourite race in the series, and the Elder Scrolls series, I mean, and why? What is your favourite spell and why? Oh, okay, my least favourite race is probably the Bretons, just because they're bloody useless. Like, honestly, if you just retconned the entirety of the Elder Scrolls lore, I mean, it might make Daggerfall a little bit problematic at the end of the day, I suppose, but at the end of the day, if you were basically put in a position where you had to retcon all of Elder Scrolls lore and sink one of the provinces in the Elder Scrolls into the sea and have it never ever existed in the Elder Scrolls ever, I think deleting High Rock from the history of the Elder Scrolls would probably, you know, I don't think anyone would honestly miss it that much, really, unless they're really big Daggerfall fans, I suppose. But there's nothing interesting or unique or special about High Rock. It's a pretty dull place at the end of the day. It's generic fantasy in every sense of the word, that place. All the descriptions of it that you can read in the lore and what you get to see of it in Daggerfall is just, ugh, what a boring place, really. It's just medieval England, it is. That's all it is at the end of the day. There's nothing interesting or cool about it at all. So, you know, I'd love for Bethesda maybe to go back and make it more interesting. And I'd be curious to see what the place looks like in the Elder Scrolls Online, actually. But as it stands, God, the Bretons and Daggerfall and you know, High Rock, it's all just bloody boring. Yeah, so they're probably my least favourite. They're just dull. Why do you need another human race in the game? You've already got Imperials, Nords, and Redguards. What's the point of another one? You know? Anyway, especially since they look pretty much the same as the Imperials anyway, you know? They look pretty much identical. You know, I can't tell the difference between an Imperial and a Breton in Oblivion, and half the time in Morrowind as well, and especially in Skyrim. All the humans in Skyrim, bar like the Nords, I think, look pretty much identical. You know, so there you go. What is your favourite spell? Like specific spell or like spell effect? I don't know. It's difficult to say, isn't it? Finger of the Mountain's pretty badass if you can actually ever manage to cast it, I suppose. There are some spells in Morrowind which have really funny names. Like, Morrowind was great because like half the spells you could buy off people had really daft names. Like, they were named after people. Like, you could have Tynur's Hoptoad, which was a jump spell. And Ondusi's Unhinging, which was a open lock spell and stuff like that. You know, I really liked that. That was pretty cool. Favorite spell. Oh. Favorite spell. I don't play a lot of mage characters, so this is really difficult for me to answer. I don't know, like, I suppose the conjuration stuff is probably the most fun of the lot, in my experience. Yeah. I think Conjuration's pretty fun, like Summon Golden Saint and Summon Winged Twilight and all those madly OP Conjuration spells, they're always a bit of a laugh. Back in the olden days of Morrowind, so yeah, I guess maybe. Finger of the Mountain, like I said there, that's pretty good. You know, I don't think Dragon Shouts count as spells, do they? So I can't really pick a Dragon Shout for that, can I? But anyway. Oh, moving on. This one here that's been flagged as spam. Let's see if it really is spam. Oh, can a matchbox? Oh, very funny. No, but a can. What was that? No, it's not can, it's something else, isn't it? Fuck it, I can't remember that joke. Why can't I remember that joke? Jesus Christ. I'm not allowed to cringe at how terrible the joke is and then not remember the other half of it. That's ridiculous. Anyway. Oh yeah, but a tin can. There you go. That was it. I fucking knew it. No, but a tin can. Anyway. Moving on. That was... Who was that from? Ilokiwi, I think. Anyway. Archmage Vanguard asks, what is the size of your feet? Why do you want to know how big my feet are? It's a very strange question, and the answer is actually I'm not sure I can remember. I've not bought a pair of shoes in ages. I think the last pair I bought were a size 13, and that's size 13 UK size, by the way, because the UK has different foot measurements to just about everywhere else. We have different ones to Europe, we have different ones to Canada, who also have different ones to the America, and yeah, so I think the size 13 UK size, so yeah, I have pretty big feet, you know. Not quite Slideshow Bob feet, but getting there. Jaden43FE asks, what are your Imaginator settings? And the answer to that is I'm not entirely sure. Like, it doesn't log what your current settings are in this like it does in the Fallout games, so what I did do is I upped the... If you want to know what I did to get the game looking like it does, is I upped the saturation by probably around 30 points. I upped the contrast slightly, I upped the brightness slightly, and I put the light bloom effect on, and yeah, I think that's pretty much all I really did, actually. So, made a big improvement, though, I have to say. I didn't use any of the really fancy effects on it or anything like that, so... Main thing is just adding loads more saturation to the game, because Skyrim, for whatever reason, is really desaturated. And unfortunately, like, some people like it, but I don't. And as far as I'm concerned, Bethesda really suck at getting their colours right. Like, in Skyrim, everything looks really grey because it's all desaturated. In Fallout 3, everything looked green because they added that weird green tint to it. And in New Vegas, they added a... Well, it wasn't actually Bethesda were working on New Vegas, but regardless... I'm sure Bethesda had quite a bit of design input on that game, and yeah, in New Vegas everything had a yellow tint, and in all cases I think it was really kind of naff, and one of the first things I did with the game, or any of those games, is install a mod that got rid of that sort of thing. So, yeah, not sure I'm particularly happy about that. We can always take bets though on the next Elder Scrolls game. What colour tint are they going to use for that? Maybe purple? I don't know. Maybe if they said it in the Somerset Owl, they'll make it really nicely saturated and colourful, because that would be a nice change of pace for them, actually. It's not for everyone, but I really like colour. I think the more colour, the better. As far as I'm concerned, colours are pretty. They're pretty things. And we take them for granted a bit, really, because it's only once you're colourblind or something like that that you appreciate. I think possibly, you know, colours are kind of cool things, you know. So there you go. JJ2 Gamer asks, how many hours do you usually spend making one episode of Oblivion? For example, how many hours goes into making an episode of Oblivion? I have to wonder. Ooh, one episode. Well, I don't record one episode at a time. I record a whole bunch of gameplay and then I split it into episodes. So, in order to get one single episode, I have to sit there and record the game for maybe about an hour and 40 minutes, maybe 2 hours or something like that at a time. And then after that 2 hours, I have to render it, which takes can just sometimes take up to maybe an hour or two as well, so that's a maximum of around 4 hours. Then it needs to be uploaded, which takes a very, very long time, which comes to probably about well, let's see, the average half-hour episode of Oblivion probably takes about 300 to 400 minutes to upload, and I don't know how many hours that is. Let's see, 120 is 2 hours, so 260, 4 hours, 380 would be 6 hours, I think, maybe. Yeah, 6 hours. 6 hours. Yeah, no, it probably takes about 6 hours possibly to upload a single episode of Oblivion at tops. You know, sometimes it's less than that. Sometimes, if I'm lucky, it's maybe like 3 hours or so. It really depends on my internet connection and how YouTube servers are getting on. So if we go for a medium of, say, about 4 to 5 hours, on top of the existing 4 hours it took to do the rest of the stuff, yeah, it's probably about 8 hours work goes into putting up one episode of Oblivion onto the channel. So yeah, maybe some of you now appreciate the amount of crap I have to deal with in order to just make these Let's Plays, you know. It's not simply a case of I press a record button while playing the game and that's it. No, there's way more to it than that. So, you know, yeah. Of course, I'm not doing nothing for that entire 8 hours, obviously, am I? I'm doing other stuff, like while it's uploading, I'll be recording something. Like, right now I'm recording this Q&A video while another video is uploading. Sometimes I'll play games while other videos are rendering, you know, and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'm obviously busy and getting on with other things while that stuff is going on. But yeah, no, it's a lot of work that goes into putting up these videos. You know, mainly because I insist on putting up 1080p videos these days, high quality. I could settle for 720p if I wanted to, and that would probably cut down the amount of time it takes to make these things by a heck of a lot. And I could upgrade my internet to a fiber optic thing, and it would take even less time. But yeah, no. So